He was a troller. He trolled the bars. He trolled the internet. He trolled the neighborhoods. And he was looking for girls like Sade.
Maxwell Anderson is accused of murdering 19-year-old Sade Robinson after they met on a date on April 1st, 2024. He allegedly dismembered her body and left her remains scattered throughout the Milwaukee area.
6 son of a is gonna pay. This is justice for Sade. Who the f would do something like this to my beautiful baby? She hurt nobody.
Investigators were able to retrieve Robinson's text messages. Hours before her death, she asked Anderson, "Where are we meeting?" Later, she asked, "Are you inside?" And Anderson replied, "Yes." Robinson was reported missing on April 2nd, 2024. That same day, police found her torched car, and a passerby found her severed leg at a park.
That once Robinson was reported missing, investigators connected the timing of the arson of the vehicle along with the discovery of the body part on the bluff of Warnemont Park.
In the days that followed, more body parts were found in various locations. Anderson was arrested and charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and arson. According to court documents, a confidential informant told police he was friends with Anderson, and that a month before Robinson's death, he was in Anderson's basement. He said plastic tarp was taped from the floor to the ceiling, and that Anderson told him he was going to shoot Robinson and dismember her in that room.
We don't know who killed her, so we're not able to identify a person. Certainly, we're not agreeing that our client killed her.
Anderson has pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Did you also understand that by waiving that hearing, you are conceding that the state can establish probable cause, and you will be ordered to stand trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Opening statements began Wednesday in the trial of Maxwell Anderson, the man accused of killing and dismembering 19-year-old Sade Robinson. Anderson is charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, arson of property other than a building, and hiding a corpse. The trial began with both sides presenting opening statements. The state began by outlining Robinson's background, describing her as a typical 19-year-old who lived in an apartment on Milwaukee's east side, attended school, and worked at Pizza Shuttle. Prosecutors then walked the jury through a timeline of events detailing the night Robinson and Anderson met for drinks at Twisted Fisherman, then headed to Duke's before allegedly going to Anderson's home, where they say she was murdered. They also laid out a timeline they allege shows Anderson's attempts to cover up the crime, including dismembering Robinson's body, discarding the remains, and allegedly taking her car and burning it behind an abandoned building. Graphic photos and videos were presented in court, along with phone records, surveillance video, and alleged DNA evidence to support the state's case against Anderson. In total, the state's opening statements lasted less than 30 minutes. The defense's opening statements, which were under 20 minutes, leaned heavily on the lack of DNA evidence. Defense attorney Anthony Cotton told the jury that no DNA or blood from Robinson was found in Anderson's home. Cotton said that the gloves discovered with blood on them contained no trace of Anderson's DNA, and results for Robinson's DNA were inconclusive. The defense also noted no murder weapon was found, and there's no evidence Anderson purchased any tools like saws or knives, nor did he have a suspicious internet search history related to dismemberment. They pointed out Anderson never attempted to change his identity and claimed the state is relying on the emotional weight of the case to secure it to conviction. 5 state witnesses have testified so far, including the man who discovered Robinson's severed leg at Warnemont Park, 3 law enforcement officers who responded to the scene, and the water superintendent of Cudahy at the time the alleged crime took place. The state's first witness, Osiris Terrell, the man who found Robinson's leg at Warnemont Park, took the stand first. Terrell testified that he and a friend initially thought the leg they saw on the beach in Cudahy belonged to a mannequin until they got closer and realized the horrifying truth. He said they immediately called police. Body camera footage from Milwaukee County Sheriff's Deputy Leon Martin showed him responding to the lakefront portion of Warnemont Park after 2 men called 911 to report finding a severed leg. The footage captured Martin speaking with the men who discovered the leg before examining it himself. After deputies and Cudahy police confirmed it was a human leg, they called in crime scene investigators from the sheriff's office. In court, Detective Joanne Donner described what she observed when her team arrived at the location. When the leg was being removed, the fold of skin and flesh had moved away from the bone. You could see that it was severed below the top ball of the femur, Donner explained. It looked like it was a tool mark. It was very smooth. I noticed that the skin had kind of a long zigzag pattern to it. That's why I was able to determine that it was probably not from, an accident, a boating accident or anything like that. On Tuesday, 12 women and 3 men were picked to serve as jurors. During jury selection, prosecutors spent time asking about people's tolerance for gruesome pictures, including mutilated body parts and blood. A lot of potential jurors raised their hands at that point, noting they'd be uncomfortable. It is actually a homicide case that deals with the dismemberment of a human body. The testimony that you hear if you're on this jury will be graphic at times, said Ian Vance Curzon, assistant district attorney. You are going to see images of dismembered human body parts. Does anybody feel that it would be so bothersome to you that you wouldn't be able to even focus? The defense also brought up this question, but it was framed to jurors who work in the healthcare field, those who see graphic things daily. A handful of jurors in the medical field responded to the defense's questioning. I know a few of you are nurses or involved in medicine. Can you raise your hand if you're a nurse or worked at a hospital? Said Jason Findling, defense counsel for Maxwell Anderson. Okay, and that's probably why you didn't raise your hand when they were asking about the gruesome photos and gruesome evidence, as you do that somewhat in your career path.
Potential jurors also answered questions about whether they knew anyone involved in the case, whether they had ever been a victim or witness of a homicide, and whether they had consumed any media regarding Maxwell Anderson or Sade Robinson. Robinson's family and friends were present in the courtroom. Anderson's parents were also in attendance. Sade Robinson was last seen on April 1st, 2024. On April 2nd, authorities found the first of several remains belonging to Robinson's severed leg in Warnemont Park, 11 miles away. Family members say Robinson's car was found burned near 30th and Lisbon on Milwaukee's north side. 2 days later, on April 4th, Anderson was taken into custody as a person of interest related to the severed leg found in Cudahy. On April 12th, Anderson was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and arson. Prosecutors allege that he killed Robinson following a first date. That same day, law enforcement officially declared Robinson dead. 6 days later, on the morning of April 18th, someone walking along the beach on Lake Michigan in South Milwaukee found Robinson's torso and arm. On April 22nd, Anderson was back in a Milwaukee County courtroom, where he entered a plea of not guilty to intentional homicide, mutilation, and arson, and waived his right to a preliminary hearing. A month later, another one of Robinson's body parts was found, this time on a beach in Waukegan, Illinois. In June 2024, Robinson's family filed a civil lawsuit against Anderson, asking for damages as well as all proceeds from the sale of his home. Previous coverage: Sade Robinson's family files wrongful death civil suit against Maxwell Anderson